I want to tell you some of the main areas which are examinable. Because after auditor has been appointed, and if he's eligible to take up the contracts and that particular assignment, what he needs, or he or she, or what the firm needs to do is to consider whether to accept that particular appointment or not to accept that appointment. Being appointed as an auditor is one thing. Before you accept or you make a decision on whether to accept or reject that particular appointment, we have matters to consider, and that is what we call the client's acceptance procedure or the client's acceptance procedure. So, many people or many students, whenever they hear of procedure, they may think, there is a particular order. Or mostly you'll hear client acceptance procedure. They will think there is an order. These are the procedures. Procedures is what you should do before you accept the appointment. In this case, what are the client's acceptance procedure or procedures? The matters an auditor should consider before making a decision on whether to accept or reject an appointment. It is after this acceptance, maybe if you make a decision, let me accept the appointment as an auditor, you then need to do it orally and then formally. You do orally first, then you formalize the acceptance to be the client auditor through a letter called the engagement letter. Well, what are the factors or the procedures to consider before you accept the appointment? Number one is the background information of the client company. You must consider the background of the company. You need to understand what does this company deal with before accepting to do the audit or before accepting the appointment. You need to understand this company is in which industry. You need to understand the background in terms of the legislation affecting the client's business. You also need to understand the industry regulations. All that enables you to get more about the information background of that particular company. So I've said a factor to consider before accepting the appointment as the auditor is the background information of the client company. You have to understand the products the company is dealing with, legislation affecting the client's business. You need also to know about the nature of the industry within which the company is operating in. Also, the accounting policies adopted by the company when preparing its financial statements. That enables you to get more information about the background. So this is a factor to consider before you accept the appointment to be the audit of the company. Again, as an auditor or an audit firm, you have to consider your independence. How independent is your firm from this particular company? So before I accept to be the auditor of this company, am I independent or not? Is there anything which can compromise my independence? Do I have any relationship in terms of maybe business relationship with the company officers or directors? I have to consider their independence, because If I'm not independent from this company which has appointed me, then I should not accept that appointment. Number 3, legality of client business. I have to understand whether this company is doing illegal or legal businesses. I need to read the company's memorandum and article of association to understand whether this particular company which has appointed me or which is appointing me to be its auditor or to be the auditor, whether the company is operating intra or ultra vias of the memorandum, whether the company is operating within the memorandum or again some outside the memorandum of association. So I make reference in the company's initial founding documents, the MOA and the AOA. That is the memorandum of association and the article of association, to know whether the company is doing the activities in which it was incorporated to perform. Number 4, I need also to consider the geographical location. I need to know where is the location of this company. Geographical location is an important consideration before making a decision on whether to accept or reject an appointment. Why? You may find that where the company is located, I do not have an office which can carry out the audit. If I don't have an office near where the company is located, it will be difficult to coordinate the audit. So geographical location helps in the proper coordination of the audit work. And thus it becomes an important consideration in determining whether to accept or reject an appointment. Another thing to consider, number 5, is communication with the outgoing auditor. Communication with outgoing auditor. So if the company has been in operation, I am not the first auditor of that particular company. I'm the newly appointed one or the newly appointed auditor. The auditor who has been there, I need to communicate to that particular auditor who is now the outgoing auditor. I need to talk to that auditor to tell me the reason why he is no longer auditor of this company. I need to communicate to that auditor to know whether there is any reason as to why I should also not accept the appointment. I need to also obtain the working papers, the recording of the previous auditor. I need to also talk of the auditor to help me understand how he was charging the audit fee. So if I am denied the chance and the opportunities required by law to communicate with the outgoing auditor, what should I do? I should consider not accepting that particular appointment. So these are some of the things I need to take into consideration. I can also consider financial year end of the company. When is the year of the company, of this appointing company, coming to an end, or when does their financial year end? Why am I considering their financial year end? So that I can know whether I have other similar clients with the same financial year ends. which may affect the intensity of my work, which may affect what I should do. Because if I have many work or many audit clients or many clients with similar or same financial year ends, it compromises the audit work because I am expected to attend to all of them at the same time. So this is also very important. I can also consider nature of the client system. The accounting system. I need to know this company which has appointed me, does it use manual accounting system or computerized accounting system? Why am I checking on that? To know whether I have the ability or the capability to carry out the audit. If I am not capable to audit in a computerized system or to do a system audit, and the company is fully computerized in its operations, then it becomes very hard and difficult for me to do the work, thus being unable in most cases to perform the audit. I should determine and consider that before I decide on whether to accept or reject the particular appointment. We also have other matters to consider. These are some of the matters I should consider. Also communicating consider meeting with the senior management of the company. It is important to meet, that's another point, meeting the senior management of the client's company. You know, whenever I meet them before I accept, they are going to tell me, or I'm going to determine even the degree of coordination and cooperation I expect. And they can even tell me the areas I can or I may face some challenges when doing the audit. So this helps in the proper planning. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you for viewing my videos. And what I need you to do, it is to subscribe to my channel. You can consider giving me a call in case you want to be trained, in case you want a private tuition, in case you need online classes. I am there to help you. My name is CPA Cleophas, and I have been a lecturer for a long period of time, teaching auditing, advanced auditing, MA, and other papers. But today it was about auditing or advanced auditing and assurance. Thank you for watching and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Mr. Cleophas. Most of you know me. Most of you have come across my videos. Again, I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel, a channel mostly for CPA students. If you are doing CPA, this video is just among the many videos I've done. And today, I want to help the intermediate students stroke the ATD level 3 students who are doing management accounting or fundamentals of management accounting in ATD 3. There is a common question or a common area topic which I want to cover. Listen and listen to me from start of this video to the end of the video. Then you can just give your comment. You can tell me on what to improve. You can again comment on whether you have understood the concept. Well, let me start the question. It's a management accounting class. So, or past paper, which is MA, Management Accounting. I want for a few minutes to cover and explain this concept. I know you have covered issues to do with inventory valuation or material valuation. When you receive items in your store or in a company, we have different methods which can be used depending with the type of materials. You have different methods which can be used to maintain your store's ledger card or your store's ledger account. Today, allow me to do one of those questions which have been examined by CASNEB. This is August 2022. Question number 1B. August 2022. Question 1B. This is for CPA. Those of the CPA past paper, they are all over, even online. Allow me to read. It says this. That's August 2022. The question or the paper was done in the morning. We have part A and part B. Part B. Part A is talking of what? Explain the following terms as used in inventory management system. I've said explain the following terms as used in inventory management system. The first Roman 1 or the first part 1 of that A. So question 1A, Roman 1, it talks of perpetual inventory system. So let me talk of the part A first. Let me start with the question. I'll do the whole A and B. So part A, Roman 1 is perpetual inventory system. What is inventory? What is inventory? Inventory is stock. What does the word perpetual mean? You know, sometimes if you understand the terms, becomes easy for you, even if you don't have a clear meaning. But I want to help somebody who wants to pass the exam. Perpetual means what? Continuous. Then this is system. So it is a continuous stock-taking system. What does it mean? Does it mean, in simple terms, this is a stock valuation system where inventory is recorded immediately. It is received in the store or immediately it leaves or issued from the store. What does that mean? You continue and say, this means that at the end of each and every transaction, you are able to determine the stock available in the store. It is commonly used where the commodities are perishable in nature. It is used, or this method or this system reduces the chances of over or understocking. Because every day you can know the stock in the store. So this is where inventory recording is done throughout the accounting period, and at each day or after each transaction, you are able to determine the closing stock. Meaning we do not close our premises to count inventories as it is in the case for periodic And Roman 2, it is periodic inventory system. Periodic inventory system. This periodic meaning within or at a particular period of time. We've talked of inventory being stock. So it is a stock valuation system or method where inventory or stock is counted at a predetermined period of time, maybe at the end of the company's accounting period. In this method, it is possible to under or overstock. It is prone to frauds because it is not easy to detect an item of stock when it is lost until that very day when the stock count will take place. So this is a system where the company closes down its premises to count inventories after a certain period of time or in a particular period of time. It is prone to frauds. Thank you. Let me proceed. This is one of the main thing I wanted to do, but it's commonly examined. Allow me to go to the next part, which is computation, regarding again inventory valuation. Well, so part B of the question, that is what I wanted, part B of that question, it says, the following information relates to store receipts and issue of material R in a small manufacturing enterprise for the month of April 2022. We are given the data on April 1st, opening inventory is 4,000 units at 100 shillings per unit. On date 4, we have issued 3,000 units. Date 5, purchased 9,000 units at 120 shillings per unit. Day 9, issued 3,200 units. On date 12, returned to stores 2,000 units from the issue of 4th April 2022. Purchased, that's on date 15, purchased 4,800 units at 130 shillings per unit. Date 18, returned to supplier 400 units. Out of the quantity which was received on 5th April 2022, on 25th, purchased 2,000 units at 140 shillings each. On 28th, issued 4,200 units. On 29th, purchased 2,400 units at shillings 150 per unit. On 30th, issued 5,600 units. It is the company's policy to use the weighted average method when valuing the materials issued. I've said it is the company's policy to use the weighted average method when valuing the materials. Remember, we have LIFO, we have FIFO, we have weighted average method, standard price method. We also have simple price average method. Then we are told the required stores ledger account or stores ledger card for the month of April 2022. So what I want to cover, it is stores. So I'll wrap because I want to use from the top of this board. This material R. So you can write there material R stores ledger account or ledger card for the month of April using, I'll use abbreviation, weighted average method. Whenever you're preparing stores ledger account or ledger card, you have to record the date of the transaction. It needs to be captured. Well, so after the dates, any day you need to, if you receive items, you have to receive them, or when you purchase, you receive items in your store. So you'll have the purchases or the receipts, whatever you are receiving after purchasing. And whenever you receive, I want to simplify this. You'll have the units you have received. You'll have the cost per unit. Then you have the value or the amount. The same will happen to when you are selling or issuing. So after you receive, you may have a transaction where you are selling them or you are issuing. So this would be a column for issues. You have to record how many units you are selling. You are issuing at what cost per unit, then the value. Remember, the value is in shillings and also the cost per unit is in shillings. The same will happen after every day after either you receive or you sell. Whether you receive items in your store or you sell or issue them out of your store, you need to determine the balance in terms of the gain, unit, and the value. So you'll have this last column for the balance. And in terms of balance, you need again to have how many units are remaining in your store, what is the cost per unit, then what is the value. I want to start to tell you where to start. For each and every store's ledger card, if you're preparing for the month of April, for example, in this case, it's for the month of April, as you can see here, it's April 2022. One, if the company has been in existence, you had transactions for the month of March. So the closing stock in the month of March becomes the opening stock in this month of April. So whenever you start or you think of preparing store's ledger card, the first thing to remember is the opening balance for the month. You have to be given. So let me read very carefully. Here you can see April 1st opening inventory is 4,000 units at 100 shillings per unit. So you will come here, you write date 1. You can put dash because balance you record under balance, so don't be confused. So you remember, I've said this date 1, then you go all through to where the balance is. That's the opening balance. You start here. How many units? I've been told 4,000 units at 100. So you write in terms of units, 4,000 units, and you're told at 100 units per 100 shillings, at 100 shillings per unit. Cost per unit now is 100 because it's 100 shillings per unit. This is the cost per unit. 4,000 times 100 shillings, you get 400,000. That becomes your value. Multiply units by the cost per unit to get the value. Remember, I've said the value is in shillings. We go to the next transaction. The way they are following each other, they must be in an order. After date 1, you cannot go to date 10. If they date 5 or 4 or 5 or 6. So they must go systematically. The next transaction was on 4th. Issued 3,000 units on 4th. So you'll not write second here. You'll write the date of the transaction when the next transaction occurred. Because if you have not you have not received anything between date 1 and date 1 and date 4, or date 1 and date 3 in between. Date 2 and date 3, there is no transaction. You cannot write anything. Why? Because everything remains the same. But when transaction takes place, you record issues or issued 3,000 units. So under receipts, you put a dash, 3 dashes, receipts, but you are told issued. How many units? 3,000. You will issue from the existing. We had this is what we have in our store. We are selling or issuing 3,000. What is the cost? So these ones, we're issuing 3,000 at a cost of, using the weighted average method, yes, we normally issue at the previous balance cost per unit. So the previous day, the balance cost per unit here under the balance column is 100. So you'll issue them at 100. So 3,000 times 100, this becomes 300,000. Well, so you'll have 300,000 there. What about here? What is the balance? You had 4,000. You have sold 3,000. What is remaining? You need to record. So this is what you had. You sold or issued 3,000. what is the balance? Would be 4,000 less what you have sold. You get what has remained as 1,000 in terms of units. Do the same here in terms of value. 400,000 less 300,000. You'll get 100,000. Okay. If you want to know the cost per unit every day, you determine the value divided by the unit. Using the weighted average method, you must get the cost per unit every day. So 100,000 divided by 1,000, these 3 zeros will go and remain with the same 100. So that's the cost per unit. So that if next one is issue, you issue again at 100. The next transaction is on 5th. On 5th. We have purchased 9,000. Purchased 9. If it's a purchase, you are receiving them. Ukinunua, unaweka kwa store. Whenever you purchase, you have the items in your store. Receive them. So we have purchased and received the 9,000 at 120. So what is 9,000 by 120? You determine that. Let me check for my calculator.